Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am going to be taking a look at the playtest rules of DC20, and I'm going to specifically be looking at skills, trades, and the languages. So I'm going to continue rolling out these videos, going bit by bit through the playtest rules. Please be aware that these are playtest rules, so they can certainly be altered along the way. The game itself is currently in Kickstarter, and I will share some information about that as well at the tail end, and let you know where it kind of stands, as of now with the Kickstarter. But I know it's already over $1.15 million, so it's doing extremely well. And later on this evening, I am going to have a related video talking about the OSR and independent games and the and just the dynamic that they play in the overall tabletop role-playing industry. So I will be speaking about that as well later on this evening. But without further ado, let's jump right into taking a look at skills, trades, and languages for DC20 RPG. So here we go, and I will enlarge this so you can see. If I have to take small little speaking breaks, take a sip of water or something to get through this, I apologize for any slight delays, as I'm struggling with asthma, allergies, and a whole bunch of other respiratory issues. So hopefully I can get through this without an issue. Skills. Skills are representative of a creature's ability to perform certain activities. That's very interesting that he uses creatures here. So it's meant to be all-encompassing of player characters and their various races or species, whatever they're being called in this system, and and then all other living beings or creatures, because even animals will have a might, agility, potentially an intelligence and charisma. That remains to be seen going forward, but without further ado, let's jump right back into this again. So if two creatures are wrestling each other, they can use the athletic skill to compete against each other. Every skill is tied to an attribute: might, agility, intelligence, or charisma. Each skill represents an aspect of an attribute, such as athletics being an aspect of the creature's might ability, or acrobatics with its agility attribute. The awareness skill uses your prime attribute, which is your highest attribute. So whatever your attribute is, your highest becomes your prime, and then there are certain actions or activities which tie directly to your prime attribute, regardless of what it is. DC tip. There are countless ways to use these skills, especially when you use the variable attribute rule. See checks and saves section. You can really get outside the box by combining skills with different attributes. And you'll see that, and I'll talk a little bit about that when I get into the skills area. Excuse me. The skill list. So might has athletics and intimidation. Agility has acrobatics, trickery, and stealth. Charisma has animal insight and influence. Intelligence has investigation, medicine, survival, and then knowledge is a subset of intelligence, where you have nature, history, arcana, religion, and occultism. And then prime is your awareness. All right. Now I would question, just looking at this, very initially, that intimidation could also be something under charisma. I mean, they kind of catch it with influence, and Influence could be an intimidating influence as well. We'll see if we go further into that in more detail. Below is a full explanation of each skill organized by its most relevant attribute. Variant rules. Prime modifier equals attribute limit. Instead of the prime modifier being determined by the PC's highest attribute, it's instead equal to their attribute limit. This means it will always be maxed out no matter where you put your prime attribute points. This rule is designed for players who want to create a PC that's more well-rounded and doesn't have one or two main attributes that they lean heavily on. This rule allows for players to have more freedom in character creation because their prime modifier will always start at 3 and progress with their level. Be aware that if everyone in the group builds a balanced PC, then no one in the group will be the go-to for a certain activities or skills. This can ruin the nuanced group dynamics that TTRPG parties are often designed around, where every PC feels like they have a strong purpose that's supported by mechanical advantages and not just narrative choices. If you like to have groups in which each PC gets their moments in the spotlight, then this might not be the rule for you. I would look at this, and it really depends on your group size. It really does depend on your group size, and let me just give a moment here. Let's see. That mic didn't work. Just hold on a second. Okay, thanks. Okay. I was just checking to see. I thought my my daughter was going to start vacuuming. So getting back to this, be aware that if everyone in the group builds a balanced PC, so if everyone is building this kind of a character, I would certainly tell the party that the negative impact of that, as it's explained here, that if you're all jacks of all trades, then none of you are a master of any, and so it's going to severely limit their function throughout adventuring and such. So it's okay if you have like a one of each core, and then let's say a fifth player character is that jack of all trades. That actually adds an element of a little bit more balance than everybody being that balanced PC. So I'll continue on. Might. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with these because some of them are just extremely obvious, right? So under might you have athletics, and then that includes climbing, swimming, jumping, grappling, intimidation, threat and violence, and forceful command. I will go into a little detail here. So threat and violence, attempt to scare someone to do something or else, and you're using your might in order to do that. So you're flexing your muscles, or your behavior is very threatening. Forceful command, attempt to boss someone around with your intimidating strength. Now, again, I think that's more of a function of charisma than it is of might. So that's the one thing that I'm pointing, because intimidation, you could be intimidating and not be very, not have a very high might score in order to match that up. So that's just where I'm going with it. I think intimidation is less a might attribute than it might be a charisma or a presence attribute. Acrobatics, balance, and stunts, very straightforward. Trickery, sleight of hand, forgery, conceal object, and traps, understood. Stealth is sneaking and hiding, very understood. Intelligence includes investigation, searching, discovery, analysis, and research. Cool. Straight up. Medicine is treat wound, diagnose cause, forensics. Excellent. Survival is tracking and foraging, hunting, navigation. Knowledge includes arcana, history, nature, occultism, and religion. Here's a DC tip. Work with your GM on if you should choose one of these skills or make up your own custom lore that fits the BC campaign or world better. Sorry. Charisma, animal. Animal covers interactions such as corralling, training, calming, and gauging the intent of beasts. So calming, attempt to soothe a startled beast or make it feel safe. Communicate, attempt to train, domesticate, or command a wild beast. Insight. Insight governs your ability to discern intentions. This could be from observing a creature's body language, facial cues, and mannerisms. Additionally, this can be a gut feeling or intuition your character has about the situation. Discern intent and evaluate threat. I really like this because it's a really important a skill for characters to have, especially adventurers. Sorry, where they're when they're encountering new creatures that whether sentient or not, or or whatnot, living or undead, or whatever is going to be included in DC20 RPG. Evaluating threat is super, super important, and discerning the intent is something that probably comes with much more experience, that you can discern their intent. But still, I really like the fact that these two are included as part of insight, because again, I think it's a really, really important skill to have for all adventurers. Influence allows you to convince, mislead, inspire, or negotiate. So prime, excuse me, prime, awareness. Awareness governs your ability to detect the presence of other creatures or objects using your sight, hearing, smell, or other senses. You can attempt to detect a creature that's visible, making noise, giving off a distinct smell, or otherwise causing a disturbance in the environment, such as causing the ground to shake, the water to ripple, or the air to blow. Or be deflected, I would add to that as well. See, attempting to spot something. Hear, attempting to listen to something. Smell, attempting to smell something. Those are pretty straightforward. I'm surprised there isn't like a sense, like almost like a sixth sense kind of included in this as well. But we'll see if that comes in a future addition to this. Trades. Trades are representative of a creature's ability to perform with certain tools and professions. If someone wanted to craft an item, blacksmithing, build a wall, masonry, pick a lock, lockpicking, or participate in a wide variety of other trades, these would represent how good they are at that trade. And so here you have a list of fairly common trades. Trade attributes. Every trade is tied to an attribute. The attribute represents what might be needed to perform this trade, such as the use of one's own strength, might, intricate hand movements, agility, knowledge or understanding, intelligence, or interactions with others, charisma. And so here is the long list of a variety of skills. So we have illustration. You need a set of tools. Your attribute is agility, and that includes drawing, calligraphy, and painting, musician, and you have the attribute is either agility or charisma. Um, I know the agility has to do with manipulating your hands on the various, whether it's drums or flutes or harps or whatever. And then the charisma would be tied in to your ability to influence. So whichever one is your better is what you're going to be doing, using. Theater, alchemy. Alchemy is intelligence and agility. Again, that manipulation of pouring various ingredients and possibly at very precise times, and that's where agility falls into play. Um, Glass blowing, I don't understand why glass blowing would have might involved with it. So in some of these cases, like when I see them, it's like, all right, I really don't see that connection. But again, these can always be changed. Yeah, glass blowing has nothing to do with might, or it'd be hard to point that out. I guess working the furnace or the I forget what it's called, like do, but that's not a very difficult task. I mean, a lot of times apprentices are young kids working in a blacksmith, so or a glass blowing outfit. So I don't see why might is there. Other ones like leatherworking is agility, sculpting is agility, tinkering is agility and intelligence. That I can understand. Weaving is agility. Brewing is agility, intelligence, or charisma. I don't know what charisma has to do with brewing unless you attach um, you attach some kind of a knowledge of what effect you want to cause from the brewing. I don't know. That's another weird one. Um, Carpentry, understood. Agility and might. Might be able to also say, well, we'll take the average of the two, and you take your. But there, he's using it here to say it's whatever your best attribute score is for that, and I could see doing it that way as well. Cooking, same thing with like a charisma in there. Maybe it's just your understanding of what people would like, and so that's why charisma is tied into there. Which would mean when you're dealing with the senses, then taste has to be a sense that's included in that list of senses that they're utilizing. Vehicles, okay. Um, Water, air, and land. Airships and astral jumpers. So I guess DC20 is going to include airships and astral jumpers. So that's, it may not be um, your very typical uh, medieval fantasy role playing game. Might have some kinds of technology thrown in there as well, and you see that with the land vehicles with clockwork and/or magic vehicles. Going down, subterfuge, we have cryptography, disguise gaming, lockpicking. All right, so languages. So let me take a little pause here. And so languages. Now I know from looking at the character sheet that languages have two levels of understanding. There's a very limited understanding or basic, and then there's fluent. So I don't see that written here, and I also don't see a separation between the spoken language and written language, which I'm really hoping eventually does get included in this, is that that separation. So the mortal languages are Common, Human, Dwarven, Elvish, Gnomish, and Halfling. Um, I think it might be interesting um, to differentiate different levels of language use, even for Common, in saying that, well, everyone starts with a very basic use of it, and then others might have to make an intelligence check to really understand what you're saying until you reach fluency or something like that. So, again, just having a language on your character sheet shouldn't mean that you automatically speak it, read it, and write it with any true level of fluency, even if you're of that racial group. So a dwarf shouldn't automatically have complete fluency in dwarvish, and especially not necessarily in written fluency. Exotic, he might run into trouble with that word, exotic. Um, Giant, draconic, orcish, fey, and elemental. Divine, celestial, and fiend. And outer is deep speech. Mortal languages, let's see if they have it here. This is a very simple and universal language, which is why all PCs are able to talk it fluently. I speak it fluently. All right, so he does get there. So you all have common fluency. Um, the language lacks of complexity. Sorry. This language's lack of complexity makes it perfect for use across the entire world. You can assume that all humanoid creatures that can speak know common. A group would have to be isolated or stubborn to not know this simple language. Humans. There are many dialects of the human language based on distance and developments of different human civilizations. Um, so why would you use anything else other than common rather than using human language or dwarvish or elvish or whatnot, unless humans in a different region are trying to obscure what they're truly saying, to you in that interaction. So almost like a human using a foreign language than you have, even though it is a human language. So yeah, I could see that. I just wonder, how often will your players utilize this, or how often will the game master actually utilize these dialect differences and role play them out? It's great when they do. So that I would look forward to seeing that in action. I'd also like to see, looking forward to that, again, based on the character sheet that I showed in the first video. What is the true difference between having a basic understanding and then being fluent in a language? A there has to be an understanding difference between the two that can be role played out, or at least explained in the narrative, in the description. All right, so deep speech is typical speakers or aberrations. All right, that's what I was trying to determine. So fiendish is devils and demons, angels and archons, and such. And then we get to mastery, which I will save for the next video. So, excuse me, as you can see, this is playtest rules. There's a lot of work that is being put in this by the dungeon coach, so I really do want to acknowledge that and each of these sections has quite a lot of both detail and nuances where you can see how this will impact your potential gameplay I really do like the fact that he puts those little DC tips in there as well, so that you as the game master can look those over and make a decision before you even begin gameplay of whether or not you're going to use a particular system, or rule, or whatever, and or it might actually encourage you to use it for that reason stated, or for potentially a different reason as well. So I'm really enjoying going through this. I know I'm a little bit late to the game of looking through these playtest rules, but I'm certainly going to put my own spin on them as well. And I am not trying to match this up or pair this up with anything from 5e, because to be perfectly honest with you, I really did not play 5e for very long. And so my comparisons that I'm making here between DC20 RPG and other, fantasy role-playing games is mostly going to come from my experience with old school D&D and other fantasy-based RPGs that whether they be OSR or independent rule sets that I do have access to. So I'm not looking at this through the filter of it being in relation to D&D 5th edition or even Pathfinder 1st edition or 2nd edition. I'm looking at it as how does it really compare to kind of all of the systems that are out there. And so that's why I like to see some of the unique ideas even this early on in the playtest rules. And I'm looking forward to digging even deeper. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave your comments. I know the first video in this series, I had tons and tons of views and lots of comments and everything. So I can see that the excitement for this game is certainly out there. It's doing exceptionally well in the Kickstarter, and as a matter of fact, even though I said I would, let's take a quick look at the Kickstarter. Let's take a really quick look at the Kickstarter and see where it stands. So it is currently at 1.82552. So let me bring that up real quick for you. So I will go here and let's share. So this is as of now. You can see I backed it right here. So I backed it at $65. It is at 1,182,552. There are 11,000 backers, 11,297 to be exact. As you can see, it was funded in 1 minute, which is crazy fast. 21 more days to go, and tons and tons of comments. Now, this is a playtest, in playtest rules right now. So you're going to see a lot of comments, and already 2 updates, and it's only in like its 4th day, potentially. I believe it launched on the 6th. So this is technically its 4th day. So doing really well. Congratulations, Dungeon Coach, on your foray. Is this your first? Let's see if this is his first. It's marked as a project we love, and I never know how to look up who is actually behind it. And oh, here it goes. So he has created 2. Let's see what his other project was. Created 2. Dungeon Coach, he did Alkander's Almanac of All Things, which looks like it was 5e. So glad to see that he's making his break from 5e as well. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for stopping in. I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention table sometime soon. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Um, like and comment and share. And I really, really do appreciate comments because those I get to actually respond to and look at other things that you might want me to focus on once we get to it. And be on the lookout for that video tonight because it will be somewhat connected to this. Overall, I'll just be talking about the OSR and ND industry and its relation to basically D&D 5e and such. And I will get into that in a little bit more detail tonight. So you all have a great one. Take care. And my end screen is not working again. This is so weird. Just very, very strange that it keeps on doing this. I don't know why it does this. But anyway, sorry.